Oh, all right. So yeah, the stream has started, and we were having a little bit of a discussion prior to the stream about
Yeah. Okay.
economics in general. Um, and hope you said you were. Oh, well, Voltaire did say he was gonna go. But that's kind of weird. He's like showed up and he's like, up, I'm here and I'm gonna go. And I'm like, then why did you even show up? But whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about the um
Bill Maher's little stupid comment.
Yeah, that's what started it all. So the topic for today for this week's hangout is why the left would rather see things fail rather than admit they were wrong. And it's a very weird thing that we've seen two major instances of it this week alone. So the or at least I mean it's not the only instance of this happening, but these were the big really that you said that and on national TV. So Bill Maher on his show Politically Incorrect was having a discussion about the economy and Trump, and he made the statement that he would rather see the economy do poorly because that would the economy doing well reflects well on Trump. Whereas if it was doing poorly, then oh hey, we could blame that on Trump, and then they would have every reason to kick Trump out.
yeah.
So, and the other thing is from what I saw, I didn't watch the whole show because I don't really like Bill Maher or anything like that, but I've seen clips
Same.
of it, and I don't think those were clips taken out of context because it was the full minute and a half before and minute and a half afterwards. So it's not like oh, you're just cherry picking or anything like that. But the other guests on the show, nobody rebutted this. They were all kind of in agreement, at least on the fact that yeah, we should have this reset. Like nobody was saying, wait a minute, what? You would rather see people lose their houses and people being suffering economically just to spite Trump, rather than to admit, oh, maybe our recommendations for what Trump should have done wouldn't have resulted in a net positive, and they
Yeah.
wouldn't. So because they keep trying to say that oh the economy right now is not because of Trump, it's not because he's not doing anything, but he has a very significant impact on the current economy. Oh, hey Zach.
Yeah.
What's up?
Okay. Oh, we didn't introduce anybody, so in case anybody watching the stream isn't familiar, this is S-Man and this is the Dark
Hello.
Conservatarian. Uh,
Yep. Um.
so
Wait,
Yeah.
we're already live?
yeah,
Yeah.
we
We're
are already live.
yeah.
Damn
We're
it! And it didn't get
Oh,
my
you didn't
sunglasses
have
on
your
yet.
shades on. Oh no, now the internet knows who you really are.
No, I don't care.
he didn't have his jerk off rag on his microphone to be official, but yeah. Um.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
I've seen people
camera
comment
angled
about the
incorrectly.
state of the economy. Some say things like, um, I've heard people like, no bullshit, say how the economy's doing very well, and then you have other people saying, for instance, Trump's tariffs have cost 1,000 people their jobs in the
Yeah,
Midwest over what's been going on with like the motorcycle industry. About 1,000 people lost their jobs. It was reported a few months ago, and people were
yeah.
talking about how this is going, and uh, it's been very much up for debate how the economy's been doing since Trump took office
Well,
last.
yeah. So that's another thing that was stated. I don't know if this was this week or last week, where the jobs reports came in, and unemployment is at record lows right now. Uh, like it, I think somebody was saying we haven't seen. I don't remember which. And if you criticize Trump, then you are a hero and you get a standing ovation at the Tony Awards,
Yeah,
right?
you just tell
That,
those
that
people that
De
you
Niro
yeah.
with his fuck Trump, and that's all he had to say, and everybody's like, yeah, and they clap for like 5 minutes, and you're like, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Yeah, in that case, just tell those people you hope they get mistaken for a person of color and deported. Fucking hell. Like, I know I'm appropriating your culture, Ham, but that just needed to be said.
Right.
Oh, what'd you say?
I said something about someone getting mistaken for an immigrant and getting deported or some shit. Sounds like some shit you'd say.
Hmm.
No, I would never say anything like that. I'm a SJW. I'm totally PC, bro. You PC,
Yeah.
bro?
Well,
Oh
unfortunately, the
god.
stream is probably very jittery at the moment because I keep getting stream status is bad. I'm not sure. So I don't
I'm
know if
hearing a
any of
lot
you
of
guys
hissing
are.
from someone's microphone. Actually, I can tell without muting
that-
you guys. I have a secret way of telling whose mic it is.
Is it mine?
So I can. Let's see. I'm going to go to the Hangout toolbox. Nope, it's not you. Let's check if it's DarkCon. Nope, it's not you. Let's go to Ham's. Nope. Go to.
And it's S-Man speakers.
Let's see. Nope. Let's see if I'm going to mute the whole Hangout, but this only applies to me.
All right, I'm not. Yeah, I was just.
Okay, I just unmuted the Hangout. I don't know who the fuck it's coming from, but it's coming from somebody.
Well, I just had my mic muted like half the time, so it couldn't be me.
It's DarkCon.
Huh?
Darkon, you already have your cum rag on your mic.
I made that joke earlier.
Yeah, I'm
I don't know if his
refresh
microphone is
the
even.
Screen. Hopefully
I don't even know if his
that'll kick
microphone
off
is
the-
on. Sounds like it's his onboard webcam
video
microphone.
comments. Alright.
No, I have it
Close out
set
that.
for high definition audio device and not webcam. This selection,
Okay.
there's webcam.
Oh fuck! You just went really loud. Holy shit. Now
I
you're
just have
back
to
to
say
normal.
that I'm really triggered by the title of this hangout. I feel like I need a safe space.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Wolf, do you sympathize with Ham?
I need a
Yeah, I
safe
mean-
space after putting myself into the danger space.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Ham-
but, I mean,
So you needed to come into the hangout and create a safe space in the hangout. Is that what's going on?
yeah,
Rather than just stay where you are, you want to come into the danger zone and create a safe space.
I want to appropriate your hangout for my purposes.
Okay. Well, so both of you, I don't know if both of you would call yourself leftist, or at least on the left, right?
yeah.
Ham and Lonely.
hmm
Yeah. So what are your perspectives on the economy, and then we'll get into the Singapore summit. But right now we're just talking about the economy.
The economy is shit. It's run by a bunch of corporatists who want to fuck over the average consumer.
Okay, so
I mean, I think
The-
everyone can agree on that.
the job reports
To
numbers
an
being
extent, at least.
so the job reports when talking about like unemployment being really low at the moment. That's not a good thing.
Unemployment is low is because our workforce has shrunk.
That's a point that I also
but that
brought up
was also true under Obama, was it not?
Do I like Obama? No, he's a corporatist.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're getting cleared up.
Okay, so you think it's bad for both under both presidents. Okay, at least there's some consistency there.
I don't think there's been a good Democratic president since FDR.
What about Truman, in your opinion?
He did drop the nukes.
Well, he only did it twice.
Yeah.
Only did it twice.
I think it was justified. I think it was
Hey,
justified
you
in
only
that
did
case.
both nuclear attacks that were ever done.
Yeah, but it was justified in that case. But anyway,
Yeah, it can be justified, but yeah, let's not get in that mess.
I'll debate you on that another time. I do
Yeah.
think it was pretty justified. Anyway,
Okay, so
Um,
you think the economy overall, like the numbers being up and all that, is a bad overall thing for?
It really depends on who you are. If you're the top, if you're upper class, top 1%er, corporatist, the economy's great. The
Okay.
economy's fucking fantastic for you.
So,
But if
you've
you're
never-
literally anyone else, it's bad.
so
I mean-
you don't agree with the phrase "a rising tide lifts all boats."
I would agree with the phrase if it was actually working, and it's obviously not.
Obviously
Wages have been
not.
stagnant
How?
since
I'm
since Reagan.
okay. So I'm confused as to why you would say that, because the economy is doing well and unemployment is down as a result of that. Granted, we've already discussed that the job numbers is not calculated in the same way, but comparing apples to apples, previous administrations, when the job numbers were lower, that was a bragging point for them, right? That like, hey, our the unemployment rate is down. That's a bragging
Here's the
point for
thing.
them, and it's not
I'm
a
not a
bragging point
partisan
under
hack.
Trump.
I'm not a partisan hack. If you call
Up for
yourself
debate.
leftist and you still fucking up, I'm still gonna call you out on you fucking up.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you have bitched at other leftists, so I think I can confirm that. Maybe a little harshly, but still.
I mean,
So
I'll happily shit on Elizabeth Warren for something she did today, criticizing Donald Trump for some goofy ass tweet.
we don't want to hear about what your bedroom exploits will be. We don't care. You keep that to yourself.
And Elizabeth
He's
Warren
talking about
is
he
the
wants
second best.
to do a Cleveland Steamer on Elizabeth Warren. I'm like, if you want to, that's your business. We don't need to hear about it.
Cleveland steamer is that like a Alaskan pipeline?
No, an Alaskan
I mean,
pipeline.
if an Alaskan pipeline is a sex position or a
No,
sex
it's not a sex position, but that,
Well, let me tell you what
that
to
is
say.
where the
Hey,
excrement
guys.
is frozen and not actually applied to the person's physical.
No,
Like,
I mean the strawberry shortcake is a sex. It's more.
Oh
gay.
God!
I mean, gay guys do it a little bit
I'm gonna need
more than
bleach.
straight people. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Bleach. Lonely Wolf.
It's funny. It's funny that Lonely Wolf probably knows more about these terms and these positions than all the rest of us combined.
He spins all day on the Urban Dictionary.
Despite him being
Are you
asexual.
fucking kidding me? He runs Urban Dictionary. He created words and phrases that should never exist.
He's like the primary source for these sex positions, and that's why they're like, who would ever do that? And I'm like,
Do you know what a cockpit is?
Oh God!
is that like space docking?
No, it's
Yeah.
it's a slang word for vagina.
Charlie
No.
Sheen called Lonely Wolf and he said, "Hey, dude, calm down. You're giving us all a bad name."
That's a sour apple smoothie.
Okay.
Yeah, the less I say about that, the better.
All right.
So what are we talking about?
We are talking about the economy
we were talking
and the
about
Singapore
leftist
summit.
economics, and then we somehow moved on to, sex positions
Well, that's because
involving
you were
fecal matter.
talking about shitting on Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, well, I was talking about verbally shitting on her.
Really? I thought we were talking
Okay.
About, so
that
we're
was
gonna talk
my.
about
Yeah, I derailed the conversation.
So are we gonna? So were we talking about Keynesian? Since you guys were talking about leftist economics, were you guys talking about Keynesian economics?
No, we're just talking about the economy in general right now, and
Oh, I see.
I would say the economy is doing well, although
Not for poor people.
okay, I would disagree with you there, but
Yeah, good
I am agreeing with Peter Schiff and a lot of other people like him who are saying it's doing well temporarily, but it's another inflated bubble that is going to inevitably pop.
There's going to be another crash. There's another crash in the making.
It's another crash that is going to be worse than the housing bubble crash. We've got an automotive bubble, we've got a stock market bubble, and
Another housing bubble.
yeah, they started doing subprime mortgages again, calling them non-prime.
We learned literally nothing from the housing market crash in 2008.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
you don't
the problem is we called them subprime. If we just call them non-prime, that'll fix the problem.
You don't give stupid people money, okay?
Yeah.
You don't give. I'm sorry about this, but poor people more often are uneducated, and if you're uneducated, you have no idea what you're doing. You should not be getting large amounts of money. Especially, isn't the subprime mortgage one where the interest rate can just jump up on you at any time?
Honestly, I almost thought that
this
you
is
was
not the fault of poor people. This is the fault of bankers, basically committing fraud as a business model.
I almost
Okay,
thought
yeah,
you was referring to failed bankers in the 2008 crisis, Aspie, when you said you don't give stupid people money. I mean, it goes
it goes
for
both ways.
both. Yeah, it goes both ways in my opinion as well. But why single out only poor people, Aspie? I mean, it's like a
I'm not
WTF moment
just
in my head.
singling out poor people. I just
Well, here's the
Well,
thing:
that's
these
the only
people
one
aren't
that you
stupid.
said, though.
These people aren't stupid. They know what they're doing. They know that they're causing, an inflation bubble. They know what everything
Mm,
that they're doing. And
I
they're
don't think
just.
that's the case. But
I mean, I
sorry,
do
go
Trying
ahead.
think
to
that the
make as
bank
much
is.
money as they can before
Yeah.
the bubble bursts.
I do think a bank is like the only like industry that should be heavily regulated because a bank is not like a business like a Walmart
Well,
or a Target or
okay.
whatnot. Its only job is to collect money and give loans. So
Handle
Yeah.
other people's money.
Well, that
If-
goes back to
yeah.
what I was talking about
I mean,
before the stream
if-
when Voltaire was here. So the issue
Voltaire
is
here.
yeah, Voltaire was here for a couple of seconds and then he left. But the issue isn't that banks are
He smelled the bacon. That's why he left.
yeah,
The
the
fried
issue with
chicken,
banks
too.
has been, and this has been my criticism of them for years now, has been fractional reserve lending. It's a fraudulent practice, and there's no way to practice fractional reserve lending without it being fraudulent. This fractional reserve lending says if I deposit $1,000 into the bank, they only have to keep 10% of that in reserve, and they can lend out the other 90%. So they could lend out $900, keep $100 of my $1,000 deposit. So they have told me that I have $1,000 in their bank, and 900 of that goes out to other people in the form of loans. They are double spending. They are keeping my records shows that I have $1,000 that I can pull out at any time, while they're also paying $900 to someone else. How can I make a claim on that $900 and that other person make a claim on that same $900?
well, that is a true.
If I'm not mistaken, it's that fractional reserve lending that caused the actual 1929 stock market crash that led to the Great Depression.
Yes.
And if I'm still not mistaken, it was regulations like the Glass-Steagall Act that helped prevent fractional reserve lending and all that stuff.
No.
And we got Bill Clinton to thank for repealing that legislation.
The Glass-Steagall was a separate issue. Glass-Steagall was banks could not perform. It was a separation between housing lending practices and investment lending practices.
Oh, yeah, it
And-
was separated into two types of banks, or
Yeah.
three types.
Separated it to two types of banks, and with the repeal of Glass-Steagall, it meant banks could now pool those money pits or money, take both of those money pools and put them together, which creates more chances of fraud.
Well,
But
here's the thing.
fractional reserve lending has been around since the 1900s, or actually the 1800s, and that's the reason you had bank runs. And their solution to that was to have a bigger bank that participated in fractional reserve lending. The Federal Reserve is the largest fractional reserve lending bank in existence, or at least in the United States. I don't know if maybe China has a bigger one, but I don't.
That's what she said.
Actually, China has a bigger
Hmm.
one. Nah, never mind. They're Asians. They don't have a bigger one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your guys' opinion that Bill Clinton gave us a surplus and eradicated the deficit?
Well-
He did it at a great cost, which would lead to future, market crashes.
He inherited Reagan's success.
Mm,
No.
Yeah.
He continued Reagan's practices of deregulation,
Which helped the economy.
which led to the 2008 stock market crash.
Yeah.
How can you make the sort of the kind of the parallels between the connections?
Because the very regulations that Bill Clinton repealed were the very regulations that were helping to prevent the very things that caused the 2008 stock market crash.
Yes and no. Glass-Steagall was a contributing factor, but the bigger contributing factor was the government's mandate that banks lend to everyone regardless of race. That they looked at the banks' lending practices and were like, "Oh, you're disproportionately lending to white Americans and to Asians and not to African Americans. So you must be doing this for racist reasons. So now you have to provide loans to low-income black families." But the funny thing is banks were lending to a higher rate to single black moms than they were to black families and single black black men. So I'm
It
not
sounds
sure
like
how
it
they
was-
saw racism in that. Or like, because that was clearly something that would buck that racism argument. But
I don't think there's enough, black people for their, you for the banks to loan out to compared to the number of poor white families.
No, it's still, if you look at, so blacks are what, 17% of the U.S. population, and the
I thought they were
percentage
like
of that,
13.
Yeah,
okay, 17,
Somewhere around
19,
there.
somewhere in that range, and the
Somewhere,
amount of
It's getting lower every
yeah.
year due to crime and abortion.
yeah, but the amount of black families and black individuals who are at the poverty line or below the poverty line is, I want to say it's like what, 40% of that, or it's at least 35 if I remember correctly. I know it is ridiculously high. So even though that's only maybe or less than 20% of the population, but of that 20%, about a third of it is at the poverty line or below it. That's still a large group of people. But if you look at what
I
banks
want
were
to see it to a
required
crowd of
to do,
people and only see whites.
Holy fucking shit.
well, banks
That's
were
pretty awesome.
required because the government was looking at it and were like, "Oh, you guys are obviously being racist, and this is not based on credit. This is not based on
Pardon me.
financial history. This is based on racism." They made the banks offer loans to people, even if the banks were likely to lose money on the deal. And the way banks made up for that was by inventing subprime mortgages. They're like, well, we're going to lose money on this deal unless we offer you a rate that is low up front, and then we balloon it as the loan goes. That's the only way we can see any way of profiting off of this. And that part right there isn't fraud. That's the subprime part of it. The fraud that occurred that led to it's actually the 2006 housing crisis, although they keep saying it's 2008. 2006, it was when it dropped drastically, and people didn't realize it until 2008.
Really bad.
Yeah.
People were 2006 is when the emperor has no clothes. It wasn't until 2008 that people started like, oh yeah, I guess the emperor doesn't have any clothes. It took 2 years for people to recognize what was going on, but
Yeah.
But the fraud that was actually demonstrated by banks was them taking those subprime loans and then selling them while labeling them as A+ to other...
Stop jerking off your mic,
Yeah.
Wolf.
So banks took subprime mortgages that they knew were risky, that they knew were likely to fail, and they sold them off to other people as A+. Or AAA, AAA or A+, I don't remember which term, but it's basically like saying, hey, these are good investments. The banks knew that they were risky. Banks knew that they were likely to fail and likely to lose money on the deal. But they sold them to other people, telling them that they were good deals. That's where the fraud entered, and lots of people
All over, social values, Christian fundamentalism, military industrial complex, warmongering across the world.
I have
So wouldn't then the far
One-
left be like Antifa and the socialists who want to destroy the government and
the authoritarian far left? Yeah.
No.
Antifa, BLM.
Wait. Authoritarian? No, they want to see it all taken down. They are anarchists. They want no
supposedly,
government.
at least.
Yeah, quote unquote anarchists.
Wouldn't
I
but
have
wouldn't
a-
that
I've-
be the
actually
opposite of
look
what
at
you
their-
say is the
if
far
you,
right?
If you look at their policies, they're just as authoritarian as the far right.
Okay,
Can't
so
keep it
those are
have-
you would classify those as the far left, though, right? Correct.
Antifa? Yeah.
I have one question for Ham. Considering the spectrum and how we are judging it for how you view the spectrum, would that put Humane Mind as a center right guy instead of a far right guy?
No, he's far right libertarian.
Well, you
Okay.
say that corporatism is far right, but as far as I know,
Corporatism is a attribute typical of the far right here in America. I'm talking about the average Republican, the average Republican politician.
And the average Republican is far right. That's what doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look
Okay,
at
and
the
Are they on the right or are they far right?
and
What?
Humane Mind. Sorry.
What?
I said, are they just on the right or are they far right? Are they as far right as possible? Is that so? You think that the standard Republican is authoritarian and also as extreme right? That doesn't make any sense.
How?
It doesn't make any sense because they are not as far right as you can get. They're not on the extreme right. They are more towards the middle and authoritarian. That's what everybody else is saying.
How are they more towards the middle?
Because they aren't for anarcho-capitalism.
So is
so
the
they're
primary
more
distinction
authoritarian than libertarian?
is the primary distinction between left and right that the right favors individuality and the left favors collectivism? Is that an incorrect?
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. That's more of a libertarian value. Authoritarian value.
Libertarians are collectivists?
Authoritarian tends to treat, people as collectives.
Okay, but that's not left and right. Authoritarian can exist on the left and authoritarian can exist on the right. The question is the right defined by individuality, whereas the left is defined, hey, we all have to work together? Because that seems to make sense considering socialism is on the left and they're like, well, we all have to work together. We all support each other. The other thing is with the race identity, like, oh, all black people need to get together and combine. The LGBT community, that's also considered on the left. They all have to group together in order to protect themselves, right? Isn't it the... And the other thing, so the issue with that is if you are black
right
like
also
Candace
has
Owens or
that collectivist
Kanye and you
mindset.
support Trump, then you're no longer a black person. That's the, you're an Uncle Tom. You're not allowed to be black and have that political opinion. That's what the left says. So the collective racist identity, the collective LGBT identity, the collective, we all need to work together in a socialist
what about
community.
the collective Christian identity? What about the collective, America identity? That's prevalent among the far right.
I think that's a fair question.
Okay. So do you think collective Christian identity is on the far right?
Yeah. I mean, they typically want far right policies.
Singapore.
Yeah, let's move on to Singapore.
Yeah. Anyway, I just got back. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Well, I know what you were talking about. I don't know what was said.
We were talking about political spectrums, but
because it seems odd that the authoritarian
yeah.
can be on the left and the right, but it's also, if you're authoritarian, you are extreme right. That doesn't make any sense to me.
This conversation is on the spectrum for sure.
Oh yeah. So okay, let's switch gears and focus on the Singapore incident, because the Singapore thing, it's another thing that apparently Trump has been making the right plays, because it's led to at least a peace summit that Kim Jong-un is willing to participate and Trump are willing to participate in it. And that's something that no other president has done.
Yeah, he's the
ever,
first sitting
right?
president. Yeah, he's the first sitting president to do this.
Yeah. That's a huge stride, and the entire time Trump was president, everyone was saying that what he was doing was going to lead to war with North Korea. And even now, they're all like mainstream media, they're broadcasting this every day, and they're like, "Oh, Trump is going to sabotage this. What's Trump going to do to sandbag this? How is Trump going to break this?" And like,
Well, Trump did cancel the meeting at least once.
okay,
I wouldn't give too much credit to Trump. I'd give most of the credit to the president of South Korea.
although the
None to
president
Dennis
of South
Rodman?
Korea thinks that some credit is deserved to Trump. He said it himself.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, what would he know? He's just president of South Korea.
Donald Trump, I guess did kind of scare the shit out of Kim Jong Un into doing a peace deal.
Yep.
But
Yeah, and he called Kim Jong Un's bluff. That's what I like. He withdrew from the peace summit. Okay, that's what they were saying. They said he just torpedoed it, and now it's off the table completely. And then a couple of days later, there's an actual peace summit being held. So all of their predictions about what was really going on, have they been right once? Have they been correct in one area where they're talking about the North Korea and U.S. relations? Have they correctly predicted anything so far?
I mean, we can debate all day about how much credit is due to either South Korea or the South Korean president or Trump when it comes to bringing North Korea to the tables, but it just utterly annoys me when I hear people say that Trump is deserving of absolutely no credit.
Well, he does deserve some credit for,
the happy Jew meme.
A happy Jew is a Jew that's a cloud of smoke.
I thought you were going to go the complete opposite and say something about money. Happy Jew is a Jew who's found a bag of gold. But...
No, because a Jew is never satisfied, no matter how much gold they have.
Oh my god.
This man speaks in the group chat.
I
A
didn't
tower guard at Auschwitz and a Jewish woman and created DarkCon.
Yep, sounds legitimate.
Fucking great.
Hey,
Probably.
whoa, why are Jews such great ninjas? They always escape camp in a cloud of smoke.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Anyway, did we?
Okay,
They came in here.
Okay, so
anti-Semitism.
So we talked a little bit about the Singapore summit, but I did want to emphasize that a lot of media organizations are talking about how they want it to fail just to make Trump look bad. They want things to go badly just so they can hold it over Trump's head, just so they can say, "Oh, see, we told you Trump was a bad guy." And I'm like, what kind of you want peace to be completely shattered just so you can hold that against Trump. You hate the man so much that you would rather see the United States and North Korea at each other's throats, possibly threatening a nuclear war, than to say,
S-man.
"Oh,
bad
yeah.
S-man, bad."
Well, here's the
Shut
thing.
the fuck up, cracker.
If you're the military-industrial complex, how the fuck are you gonna make money with peace?
So, are you saying that Trump isn't a part of the military-industrial complex?
Is he? Or
if he's
is
trying to
he-
make peace, that seems counterproductive
here's the
to the
thing.
goals of the
His
military-industrial complex.
His ego might be so great that he might pass up the money in order to
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, okay. So
and let's not forget.
So
and
he
let's
is a
not
part of the
forget,
military-industrial complex. His ego just gets in the way of him doing the military-industrial complex, doing the military-industrial complex favors, and in fact doing the opposite of what they want.
Well,
but he's a
and
part
let's
of
not
it.
forget. Let's not
Like,
forget. When we disarmed Libya, it was only a few years after that we toppled them.
We toppled Libya?
I don't remember that.
Obama helped.
Talking about the overthrow of Gaddafi, I think is what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
we helped the rebels, basically take out Gaddafi.
That was a military coup performed by their own people. Yes, we may have supplied the weapons.
No, we actually did airstrikes.
I think I do recall that.
I mean, we ran out of bombs because we did so many airstrikes.
On Gaddafi?
Yeah. Obama did that.
Dark.
Obama.
Yeah, but I do know that North Korea is planning something. They're not doing this. We have things to lose. No, they're gonna stab us in the back.
I think they did that with Clinton and Obama.
I don't remember if they did it with Obama, but I do know for damn sure they did it with Clinton and W.
Yeah.
Okay, 1986, 2011 military intervention in Libya. That's what we're probably looking about.
Okay.
A
Poor Dark Con.
multi-state NATO-led coalition began a military intervention in Libya.
Nice try, Dark Con.
Yeah, it was to have a ceasefire in Libya, including an end to the current attacks against civilians.
Dark Con.
Just don't know why people are saying, "Oh, this is a good thing." They're not gonna backstab us. They probably will.
I mean, that was probably one of the very few times that Fox News ever said anything good about Obama is during that, Libya overthrow of Gaddafi.
Yeah, and that's when Hillary said, "We came, we saw, he died."
Yep.
We
remember
came,
that.
he saw, he died, she came.
Oh no!
Ham, you're a degenerate for that. Even Dark Con's like, what the fuck, dude?
We all already know that he's a degenerate. What the fuck you talking about?
At least he's not the effeminate degenerate.
I mean, I doubt that Hillary Clinton is looking at the last photos of Gaddafi alive, and she's like furiously jerking off her cloaca.
I didn't know she was a bird.
Well,
She's a reptilian.
Well, the issue with the U.S. bombing Libya in that instance is that wasn't an attack on them. That was a retaliation because the Libyan government was already at war with its own people. The U.S. and NATO stepped in order to stop the government from bombing their citizens or attacking their citizens.
Yeah, that's not a retaliation. That's an attack.
So
you can't retaliate against someone who isn't attacking you.
no, you can under the terms of the Geneva Convention. When somebody else does something that is a war crime, the UN votes on whether they should enact retaliatory action against that person. That is the law of armed conflict.
Yeah, and
that's what LOAC concerns. Is like, yes,
whatever technicality word you choose to use, it was still us attacking them.
Okay, so if I see a man about to rape a woman, and I shoot that man, I attacked him, and so I should go to jail for saving.
You attacked him in you attacked him to protect that woman.
And
because
when
that
the U.S. attacked the Libyan government to protect the Libyan citizens, it's not the same thing. That's an act of war, right?
I mean, were we protecting the Libyan citizens? Is Libya now not in a worse state than it was before? There are open air fucking slave markets in Libya right now.
Okay. How does that change the situation that Libyan government was attacking their people? Were they or were they not attacking their people? So would the Libyan government the Libyan people be better under what they currently have, or would they be better off dead?
They'd be better off under Gaddafi because at least they have a stable government.
Where they were being attacked by their government. That's why NATO, not just the U.S., but NATO.
Who was Gaddafi attacking? The rebels who was trying to overthrow him, or was he just randomly attacking his citizens just outright?
I That is unclear. I am not sure. I just know that the Libyan government was at war with their citizens. And NATO agreed that the correct course of action was to retaliate against the Libyan government. I don't know if that was the correct course or not, but to say that was a blatant attack seems a little. That seems a little underhanded.
It's a widely regarded fact that the Middle East will be in a much better position today if we hadn't overthrown Saddam Hussein, because Saddam Hussein, as bad as he was a hell of a lot better than ISIS. He was a hell of a lot better than the instability that we caused, the 200,000 citizens, civilians that we killed in the process of.
To answer your question about yes, I would be interested in debating secular humanism, because I don't think you can get to a consistent moral position with humanism that way. I think if you embrace,
I think we should save the debate for a later time before the stream goes on too much longer. I mean, you said you had to wrap it up.
I just want to say, because there are problems with secular humanism, of course, as is with any religion, but humanism is a hell of a lot more consistent and coherent than Christianity, and that's going to be my point.
All right. So you want to set that up for next Tuesday? Will you be available around the same time?
So if we can do weekends or Friday nights, that'd be a lot better for me. A lot easier on me.
Hopefully next week after that we can talk about freedom.
Because, I have to start getting ready for work in about 15 minutes.
All right. So
hopefully after that. Yeah. Hopefully
Friday,
after that.
Will Friday the 22nd work for you?
That'll work. That'll work.
22nd. All right. So we'll schedule to have a debate between secularism and Christianity on the 22nd.
Can I mod
secular
that?
humanism?
Can I mod that? Since you guys are known to be heated at each other. But
okay, yeah. If somebody wants to moderate,
I'll host it so you two don't eject one another. But yeah, after that, hopefully we can cover free trade, because Ham has a huge hard on for about how that's bad and shit. I'd like to cover that after that.
Oh yeah, trade destroy the working class.
Well, I got a question. Why can't I mod that? S-Man, why do you have to mod it? I mean, I modded a whole lot of.
Not really, Dark Cuck. I've not modded that much.
Okay, so
I don't think you're quite as aggressive enough to handle me.
I could just mute your ass repeatedly.
Okay, yeah, you guys settle what you're gonna do in the bedroom off of my stream. I don't care. Not interested.
All right, Sig Heil, guys. Sig Heil. Gas the Jews.
All right.
I want to say one last.
No.
Hey,
no.
Stop.
S-Man, stop muting them.
Fine.
I want to say one last thing before we go off air. HUMANE and Ham being decent with each other, finally for the win.
Sure.
Okay.
It's about fucking
I'll
time.
take it. Yeah. I have been working on keeping my temper
under control,
in check, but wasn't so successful in the chat, and I'm like, oh man, I lost it again.
I've modded their first two debates. I think modding a third time isn't that bad. You're just fucking.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're just salty that those two debates got nearly 100 views. You're just
hey,
triggered.
Why can't you guys co-moderate?
Zach just wants to moderate streams now.
Yeah, you guys can co-moderate.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to moderate my stream between me and
practice moderating is what I want to do.
Well, let's have Zach, take a shot at it.
Okay, so